Hello guys, and welcome to the channel. My name is Zeno, and in this video we're going to create 10 JavaScript projects. Okay, so let me quickly do a run through of the project workflow. Okay, so I have a folder on my desktop, this folder here, so I'm going to open it up, and as you can see we have these templates. Okay, and basically I'm just going to open this template in my code editor just to show you what we're going to be working with. So let me just do code, and okay, so let me just bring this in. So basically I have created this template. It's basically a starter file with which we're going to be creating all of the projects. It has index.html, styles, the CSS, and script.js, and then it has this images folder. So let me just show you the index.html. So the index.html has basically font awesome link, and it's linked to the JavaScript file and the CSS file, and then it says hello world. Okay, and then for the styles.css, basically we've imported a font from Google, and we have some variables, that colors that we're going to use across the projects, and then we have some basic styling. So this is just a reset, and for the HTML I've set the font size to 10 pixels because I'm going to be using rems. Okay, and I want it to be relative to this value here. And then I've set the body to this font family. I've set some default styles for the paragraph images, and then I created a container class, okay, which is going to be like the house that holds everything we build. Okay, so that's basically what I've done here in this project. Yeah, so let's just check out this one. So I'm just going to open the readme file. Okay, so this is the projects we're going to be building. Okay, we're going to start this one by building a Google Direct download link generator. Okay, it's actually a download/embed link generator. Okay, so I should probably say /embed. Okay, so that's the first one we're going to be building, but also we're going to build a weather app. We are not going to build a to-do app. We're going to build a music lyrics app, a countdown app with progress bar, a product slider, a quiz app, a notes app, product search/filter app, an internet connection status app. Okay, so we're going to build 10 projects overall. Okay, so just a little bit about me. I already told you my name is Zeno, and I basically like to code. Okay, and I like helping people. Okay, I like helping people learn how to code. Okay, I like helping beginners on their journey, on their tech journey. Okay, so this is my website, zenotrustacademy.com. Okay, on my website here I have 2 courses that I've published. Okay, I published a course on Git and GitHub, and another one on building websites with HTML, CSS, and Sass. Okay, so you should you can actually check this out. This course is a very comprehensive course. If you are not comfortable with HTML and CSS, you should definitely check out that course. Okay, so yeah, so this is basically it. It's a very comprehensive course. Okay, more than 18 hours of content. Okay, so I believe that if you take this course, you're definitely going to be confident with your HTML CSS skills. Okay, all right, so let's me close this, and I think we can get started. So like I said, the first project we're going to build is a Google Direct download link generator. So what is this application that I'm talking about? Okay, so basically if you have a Gmail, a Gmail comes with some storage space, okay, where you can store files, you know, music, videos, and documents. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let me bring this up, right, and I'll copy this. So let me just do, I'll copy and I'll just paste it one more time inside, and then I'm going to name it 1, and I'll say Google direct link. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to open this up in my code editor. So I'll just do git bash here, and let me just open this up. Okay, yeah, so I think I'm ready. All right, so basically, to explain what the Google Drive app does, I'm going to create a new file here, and I'm just going to paste in some code, okay, that I've prepared before this video. So I'll create a new file and I'll just name it test.html, okay, and I'll paste that in, okay, and then I'll save. So let me right click and then I'll open with live server. All right, so this is the file we're going to use to test what our application does. Okay, this is the application we're going to build. So I'm going to come to my Google Drive, okay, and I have this folder open that contains a music, a PDF document, and a video. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click and I'll click on get link for the music, right, and I'll simply just copy the link, and let's come to our application here. So what I'm going to do is I'll paste the link here. So it says paste your Google Drive file link here, right? So I'm just going to paste that in, right, and I'm going to click on generate direct download link. So I'll do that, and as you can see, something happens here, okay, and then if you click on the embed, you see that there's also this code that has been generated. So let me click on this, and also there's something here. So if I refresh the page, let me just refresh the page and come to embed, there's nothing there. Same for the document, okay. So I'm going to paste that one more time and click on that, and as you can see, we have this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, okay, I'll just click on this to copy the audio embed link, okay. So that's the first thing I'll do. So I'll just click on that, and as you can see, we have this notification, link has been copied to clipboard. All right, so I'll click on OK, and I will bring up my code editor, right, and for my code editor, let me just bring this here. So what I'm going to do is this file you see here is what is open here, okay, this is it here. So basically I'm just going to paste in, first I'll paste in the audio embed code, right, and I'll just paste that in, okay, and I'll come back here to my, and I'll copy the direct download link. So I'll just click on copy, okay, and it has copied, and then I would paste that into the href for this button, this download button, and then I'll do Ctrl V. All right, so that's the first. All right, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, so let me just close this up. I'm going to copy my document, okay, so I right click and I'll click on get link, okay, and then I'll just copy the link, or I'll make sure it's accessible to everybody, and then I'll copy it, and then I would come to my direct download link generator, and I'll paste that in, and I'll click on generate link, okay. So basically it has generated a link. So basically I'm just going to embed, it's a document, so it's a document. I'm just going to click on copy, right, and I would go to my file here, and where it says document getting started, I'll just come down here and paste in the document, okay. So the last one we're going to do is we're going to just get the link for the video. So I'll just right click and I'll say get link for the video, and I'll copy this and I'll just do same. So I'll come to my video and I'll paste that in. Oh, sorry, apologies, I haven't generated the direct link for the video. So I'll come here, I'll paste that in and generate a link, and then I'll click on embed video / documents. I'll copy this and let's paste that here. All right, and then I would save this document. So what we're going to do now is we've created a document. I'm going to come to this here and let's see what we have. Okay, so first we see here that we have the audio file being displayed here. So basically I can play this audio file and I can access it as if it was on my server. Okay, and then I created this download button and I pasted this direct download link. Okay, so I'm just going to come here and I will click on download, and as you can see, it brings up this notification that I'm about to download this file. I don't want to download it, so I'm just going to close that. Okay, so but that's not the original behavior of files that are stored on Google Drive. Okay, so for example, if I maybe right click on this file and I click on get link, right, I copy this link and then I share it with a friend, right, and let's just say this is the friend opening the link in the browser. You'll see that it's going to open on Google Drive. In other words, it's not going to be directly downloaded to the your user's computer or whatever. Okay, so basically this is what the app does. So basically with this I can host all the files on Google Drive and be able to access them on any website. Okay, so this is for the document. As you can see, we're accessing the documents, right, and then we're also accessing a video right from our Google Drive. Okay, and we're accessing it on our browser. Okay, so basically this app is going to help us convert our Google Drive to a hosting service for our files. Okay, and it's something that I've used, okay, and I found very interesting. I have thousands of files that I hosted on Google Drive. Okay, so this is the first application we're going to learn how to build. Okay, so let's get started. So first off, I'll just go ahead and close this because I don't need it, right? And also for my Google Drive, maybe I'll just leave this one open. Okay, and then I'll bring up my code editor. So let me just bring this, I'll close this up and I'll bring this up. Okay, so that's fine. All right, so the markup for this is actually much. Okay, I think I can close this as well. So the markup is actually very much, so you're going to have to be patient with me. Okay, let me just arrange my browser and I'm going to drag this here. Okay, okay, so I didn't spend so much time working on the responsiveness of the project, but I think I did a bit. So I think if I shrink that up at some point, it changes. Okay, yeah, so let me just bring that out. Okay, and I'll come here. So what I'm going to do first is let's start with our index.html, right? And I'm just going to first open this with live server. So this is our index.html, yeah? And I wonder why it's displaying so big. Okay, I'm sure that can be sorted out in our styles.css. So let me come to my styles.css and just take a look. So yeah, so I already see it. So this is 10 rem. This is actually 10 pixels, so px. So I'm going to have to correct that in my, so this is hello world, right? I'm going to have to correct that in my template starter file. Okay, but I'll do that later. Okay, so I'll close this up and let's start with our index.html. All right, so I'm really not so much in a hurry with this project. Okay, so forgive me if you think I'm slow. Okay, but I'll try as much as possible to be fast. Okay, so but one thing I want you to help me do is I want you to help me I want you to help me like this video, right? And I want you to hit the subscribe button. Okay, thank you so much, and it's going to really encourage me and help me to make more interesting tutorials on JavaScript and other topics. Okay, thank you so much, and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a main tag, and the main tag is going to house everything. Okay, I created a header tag before, but I commented it out for some reason. Okay, so let's add a section with a class of main container. Okay, and then let's add a div with a class of instructions. Okay, just to make sure I don't start having typographical errors. All right, so within the div with a class of instructions, we're going to create another div with a class of container. All right, so container, and let's start by creating, so maybe I should probably display this here so we can see what we're doing, and I should probably change the title of this to Google okay, so it's different. All right, so within the container, let's start by creating this block here. So the instruction block, I think I can move this out so we can see what we're doing. Okay, all right, so I'm going to start by creating a h2 tag with a class of line. So let me just, so h2.line, and it's going to say instructions, right? And then we're going to create a paragraph, right, that is going to say, so basically I'm just going to copy this here so that I don't have to type so much, and I'll paste that in. And okay, so there is a horizontal rule just below this, so I'm just going to say HR, and then I'm going to create an ordered list. So I'll say OL, and this OL, basically I'll just specify the type, and it's going to be 1. Okay, I think 1 is actually the default, but just to be sure. So within this OL, I'm going to create lists. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lists. So I'll just say li times 4. Okay, and within the lists, I think I'm going to create paragraph tags. Okay, so I think there's a way I can do that. So I can say li, and then I'll say p, right, times 4. Ouch, that's not what I want to do. So I'll say li times 4 and p. Okay, yeah, so this is it. So the first paragraph is going to say open Google Drive. Okay, so I think I should just type that out. So I'll say open, and then I'll add a link tag, and this one is going to go to, I think it's drive, sorry, that should be https and drive.google.com. okay, all right, so it should say here, it should say Google Drive. Okay, so the second instruction is to right click on the, so this is basically just instruction on how to get your download link. Okay, so I'll just copy them instead of typing them out, and let me just get the last one. All right, so I'll save that, and let's see what we have. Okay, so this is what we have, and it looks okay. I would come back here so we can see what we're doing. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to come below this div, So how did we do this? We created a section with main container, and then yeah, so just after the section here. Okay, so let me just add a comment and say download section or something like that. So okay, just to help me separate my code. Okay, so it's getting much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a div with a class of download link. So download hyphen link. Okay, so I'm using Embed here. Okay, Embed is a plugin that helps you write HTML and CSS faster. And then within this, I'll create a container div, and then within the container div, I'll create a h1. Okay, the h1 is going to say Google this heading here. So I'll just grab this. Okay, so I think I can move this out. Okay, as long as it shows on the page, it's fine. So I think I can move it out. It's fine like this. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I'll come here. Okay, so h1 here, and I'll paste that in. Okay, and next we're going to create. Okay, so let me just come below the h1, and I'm going to create an impute. So I'll say impute, and it's going to be a type of radio. So because we are going to create these tabs here. Okay, so that's a tutorial on its own, like it's a comprehensive tutorial on its own. This one is going to have an ID. So it's going to have an ID. I'm just going to say login. Okay, so just don't bother about my naming conventions for the IDs and stuff like that. Okay, just don't pay too much attention to it. Okay, and I'm going to give it a name of tab. Okay, and I'm going to set it to checked. Okay, for the first one. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this. So let me expand this code editor just a little bit. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to duplicate this, but of course I'm not going to have the rest checked, so I'll duplicate it one more time, so 3 times, yeah, because we're going to need 3 of these. And for this one I'm going to say register. Okay, like I said, don't pay too much attention to the naming conventions for these impute tabs here. Okay, the most important thing is that you just understand what is going on. So I'm going to name this reset. Okay, and yeah, so what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to come below this impute tab, right, and I'm going to create a nav, and within that nav, so let's start by creating labels. Okay, so I would say label, and this label is going to be so the first one is login. So basically I created a project in my HTML course. Okay, a tabs project, and basically it's created this, it was like a login form that had, you know, the tabs, slidable tabs and stuff like that. So I did that in the HTML course. Okay, so I basically just grabbed the code. That's why you see this login, register and reset. Okay, all right, so that's out of the way. So this label is going to have a class. So I'm just going to come here and say I'll give it a class of login. So the first one, and what I'm going to do is that within this label I'm going to create I'm going to add a font awesome icon. So this icon here. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, so and it's going to have a class of FAS. So that's font awesome, and this one is going to be FA-sign. Okay, that's sign in -alt. Okay, and I'm going to close that up. All right, so let me just save and make sure that, okay, yeah, so we're on the right track with this. Okay, so I'll come back here, and basically I'm just going to replicate this. So I'll just 1 2. Okay, so this first one is going to say, let me just be sure, make sure that so it's going to say paste link. Okay, so I'm just going to come here, right? So I can basically just come down here and then I'll say paste link. Okay, so this second one is going to have an ID. Oh, I didn't give an ID in the first one, so let me just be sure. So this class should actually be an ID. So I'll just come here, one, and I would change all of that. So I'll make it an ID. Okay, so maybe I need to actually leave it as a class. Okay, but I just need to change this to register, and this one is going to be reset. Okay, so but also we're going to need to change so for this second one, we're going to give it, the text is going to say embed audio, and for the last one is going to say embed video / docs. That's for documents. Okay, and of course the font awesome icon is also going to change. So for the second one, we're going to use headphones alt. So I'm just going to get this and say headphones and alt, and the last one is going to be photo video. So I'll just come to this one here, and I'll say photo -video, and then I'll save, and let's just make sure. All right, so our icons are here and they're good to go. Okay, so what do we do next? We're going to create another section. Okay, so just below the nav here, right? And this section is going to contain the content of the tabs. Okay, so I maybe should just add a comment and say content section or tab content section. So right, and below it I'm going to create like a section, right, and that's where we're going to put the content. So this is a lot of HTML to write. Okay, so but we can do this. So I'm just going to say I'm going to create a div with a class of content and a modifier class of content link. So content -link. Okay, and within that div I'm going to create so let's add an icon. So I'll copy this. I feel like I did too much HTML in this project. Okay, but I mean I've already done it. Okay, so let me just change this to download, and let's just save and make sure that we're on the right track. Okay, so that's fine. So we're going to do h2, right? And this h2 basically, so let me just come here so we can just grab these guys. So it says Google Drive link, so I'll copy that and I'll paste that in. Okay, then below it says paste your Google Drive file link, so I'll just copy this also, and I'll come here and let's add a paragraph and paste that in. Okay, So next we have this impute. So basically we're going to create a form here. Okay, so I'll come down here below and I'll create a form tag. And that form tag, first off, I really did too much markup in this video, man. Now that I'm recording it, I feel like I should have just, you know, added the impute and then use JavaScript to create the logic, but let's continue. It's fine. Okay, so let's do our label, and this label is going to be for, I'll say, G link, which stands for Google link. And inside of this label, I'm going to add this icon here. Okay, so I would say, let me just grab this icon here. Wow, this is a lot, man. Okay, so I've pasted that icon there, but I'm going to change it to FA Google Drive. So I'll just do Google-Drive. Okay, so that's fine. Let me just save that. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to add an impute. So I'll just come down here and say impute. It's going to be a type of text and the placeholder. So let me refresh this page. The placeholder is going to say Google Drive link. Okay, so I'll just come here and say placeholder. So Google, okay, Drive link, and let's just see, it's going to have a class of and an ID of G link. Okay, so let me just come here and give it a class also of G link and an ID of same, so G link. I'm going to set the auto complete and I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to make it required. So that's all you need to do. Okay, so let's just make sure. All right, so this is what we've done so far and we're not done. Okay, all right, so you see why I say that this is quite a lot. Okay, so let's come outside of the label. Okay, and let's do a button, and this button basically is going to say, let's just look at it. So it's going to say generate direct download link. So let's do that quickly. Okay, so of course this button is definitely going to have an ID and a class, so I'm going to give it an ID of btn. So let's just do ID of btn and class of same, so btn. Okay, and I think that's all for the button. Okay, so I'm just going to come below the button and I'm going to create this area here where we're going to save our direct download link. Okay, so let's create a div, and this div is going to have a class of embed code. So the first thing it's going to have is I think there's a horizontal rule somewhere here, but it doesn't quite, it's the button is sitting directly on top of it. Okay, so let me just let me add a horizontal rule, and I know why the button actually sits on top of it. That's because the styling I put, okay, somehow got displaced. Okay, but I think I can fix that. So HR, and let's do H3. This H3 is going to say direct download link. So I'm just going to copy this and oh, this is too small, so let me bring it out a little. Okay, so next I'm going to add a text area. That is, so text area. Okay, and what am I interested in? I'm not actually interested in the name. I'm going to give it an ID of embed, and I'm not actually interested in all of these other properties, so I'm just going to get rid of them because I'll add my styling myself. It's going to have a class of embed and an ID of download link. So I'm just going to change this to download-link, and I'm going to give it a class of embed. Okay, and I think that's all. Okay, so well, I think I can just leave the course of 30 and the row of, I think it was 10. Okay, doesn't really change anything. I'll still apply my styles. Okay, so within this I'm going to add a span, and this span is going to have a class of copy, and it's actually going to say copy. And I think that's all. So let me see what we've done so far. All right, so this is what we've done so far. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are just going to duplicate this content section. This first content section we created, we're going to duplicate it twice. Okay, that's what we're going to do, and then we're going to change the content. Okay, so we don't have to do so much coding. So I'm just going to watch very closely. I'm just going to, from this area here, I'll copy it, right, and I'm just going to stop here, and I'll just copy it, right, and I'll just come down here. So I can just add a comment so you can see. I'll say audio embed section or something like that, and then I'll paste that in. Okay, so but in the audio embed section, this is what we have. Okay, so we're going to just get rid of some things here. So let's come down here, and here where it says Google Drive blah blah blah. Okay, we even need to start from the class here. So we're going to change this to content audio. That's going to be the modifier class, and we're going to change it to headphones alt. So I'll just say headphones -alt, and then we're going to then change this. So I'll just copy this, and I'll paste this here, and then for the text I'll just grab this text here, and then I'll paste that here. Okay, and for the form, we actually do not need the impute form, so I'll just get rid of this guy here. So from the button up till the label, I'll get rid of that, and then it's just the embed code we have. So for this embed code, we are going to do some modification. So the h3 is going to say audio embed link, so I'll copy that, and I'll just change that here. So v, and let's see, text area name. I think I'm going to have to change the class, the ID, sorry. So the ID is going to say embed audio. So embed -audio. Okay, and the span, so let's see. So the span is going to have a class of copy audio. Okay, so I think that's it for this section. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, because it's easier for me to just copy this section and replicate it. So let me just do that from here. First off, let me save and see what I have. Okay, so blah, yeah, so this looks like what we want. It's fine. Okay, so let's come back here and let's grab it from here, and I'll copy this. I'll add a comment here and say video embed section, and then I'll paste that in. Okay, so I just have to change the content. So I'll come to my video section, and let me just grab this first. So okay, but I have to change, it actually starts from the class here, so I'll change this to content hyphen video, and so it's going to say photo video, so photo hyphen video, and it's going to say video. Oh, that's what I pasted here. So let me just come here and paste that in. So video blah blah blah, and then I'll just copy this text here, and let's just paste that in. Okay, so for the form, basically what we're changing in the form is first off, let me just grab this text, and I'll just put that here. So the text area is going to say copy video, right? Okay, and I think that's it for this section. Oh, this is also going to say embed video. Okay, and I'll save, and that is definitely it for the HTML. Okay, so wow, we've taken so much time writing this HTML. Okay, but sometimes it's like that. Okay, the most important thing is that we're done. So let's come and write our CSS. Okay, and I'm going to be taking breaks intermittently so I don't burn out. Okay, all right, so let's come down here and let's start writing our CSS. So how do we begin? Just a minute, let me make sure that we're on the right track. Okay, so we're going to begin by targeting the main container. Okay, so that's how everything starts. So right here we have this main container, right? All right, so for the CSS, we don't need so much space on our code editor, so we can minimize it and open this up so we can see what we're doing. Okay, yeah, and then so this is what we want to achieve, and this is where we are. Okay, so let's start. So we start by targeting the main container. So I'll say the main container. I actually enjoy writing CSS more, so let's give it a display of flex. Okay, so we're on the right track, everything is nicely set up, and I'll do justify content and set it to center. Okay, I'll leave it at that, and immediately I'll go to, we have two sections, the instruction section and the download link section, right? So is it plural? Let me just confirm. All right, so it's plural instructions, so I'll need to add an S here. Okay, so for the instruction section, I'm just going to start by giving it a font size, okay, of 1.6 rem, and hopefully some of the elements inside of it will inherit it. I'll reduce the width to just 30%. Okay, so you see that it shrinks down a little, and then I'll give it a height of 100% of the viewport height. Let's save first. So save. Okay, let's do let's give it a border, which I really don't think is necessary at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a background color, and it's going to be a black variable. So this is how we add variables. So black, and I'll save. Okay. Excuse me. Let's give it some padding on the top. So padding on the top, we're going to do 5 rem, and let's set the color to #EEE. Ouch, so that has changed on my keyboard. So #EEE and save. All right, so this is fine. Let's target the h2. So I'll come down here, instructions, and h2. So basically we're just going to make the font size 3.5 rem. So let's make it big. All right, and let's give it a color of our secondary color. So I'll say variable and color secondary. So you see, and let's give it some margin on the bottom. So margin bottom of 1 rem, and save. Okay, so that's some space there. So what I'm going to do is let's just look at the original. So there's this line we have under the instructions. I'm sure you probably have an idea of how we can do that. Okay, so but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to there's this, let me just go to my index.html, right? And for the instruction we have h2. You see we have a class of line. Okay, so that's basically what we use. So but now that I think about it, it's just on one place, this line we have here. So I think I can use the instruction and h2. Okay, so but for that I'll need to give this a position of relative. Okay, so I thought I was going to add that line on several places. That's why I gave it a variable. So but since it's just once, I can just do it here. So instructions, and then I would say h2, and then I'll use the pseudo element of before, after. I can use before or after, but I'll just use after. Okay, and then I'll start by setting the content empty string. Okay, I usually like using the double quote, but at this moment it's okay. Yeah, so that's it. And I will set the position to absolute. Okay, and I'll say that from the left I want it to be position 0, and from the bottom I want it to be 0 as well. And then I'll just give it a width of 25%, and let's give it a height. So we can just do 2 pixels, and let's do background color of that #EEE and save. So yeah, so this is what we have basically. And so for this we're going to give it some padding on the bottom. So padding hyphen bottom of 5 pixels. Okay, so basically this is what we just created. So let's just quickly get the unordered list. So I would say dot instructions unordered list. So basically I want to do some padding on the left. So this left here, because of this numbering, so I'll say padding hyphen left, and I'll just do 1.5 rem, which is actually 15 pixels. Okay, so you see that it aligns these guys here. Okay, and let's just add some padding on the top. So I can say doesn't make sense to do padding left and padding top, so let me just do it like this. So on the top I want 10 pixels, so that's actually 1 rem. On the top, on the right I want 0, on the bottom I want 0, and on the left I want 1.5. okay, so that sorts that out. Yeah, then is there any other thing to do here? Let's get the a tag. Okay, so I'll come down here, let me just take this up a little. So I'll say instructions and unordered lists, and I'll target the a tag. Let's give it a color of, and I'll use my variable color, so that's var, and let's do color secondary and save. And let's remove the text decoration and set it to none. Just remove the underline. So the idea is not to style the link in fantastic ways, it's just basically to have the basics. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and style this download link section. We're done with this guy here, so I'll come down here and I'll say dot download hyphen link. Okay, so but let's make sure that that's what we named it in the other side. So yeah, so that's download link. Okay, so we are good to go. So let's give it a width of 70%. Doesn't really change anything. And let's do some padding on the top as well, and let's set it to 5 rem. Okay, yeah, so that seems fine. Okay, so let's do dot download link, and let's target this section inside of it. What do we want to do? We want to give it a border, so border of 2px solid, and let's give it a variable color of color primary, and I'll save. Okay, so you see that everything is housed inside this border. And let's do border radius of, so it's going to be 0, 0 and 5 pixels, so that's 5px and 5px. okay, so on the left and right there's not going to be any border radius, but on the bottom and the bottom right there's going to be radius there. Okay, the curve. Okay, so let's begin to style everything here. So I'm just going to come here and I'll say main and h1. Now that I think about it, this should actually come down, but we can always adjust it later. I wonder why I did style that first. So block, that's for the h1. Okay, let's give it a font size, same of 3.5 rem, and let's do a font weight of 700. Line height of 5 rem, and let's give it a color of primary color. Okay, so that's it for our h1. Okay, so we're going to do the main, and let's target the impute. Remember, we're targeting the type of radio button, so type is going to be equals to radio. Okay, and basically I just want to hide it, so I'll set the display to none. That's for these buttons you see here, and I'll save. Okay, so they're out of the way. So let's then target the nav. Okay, that's the nav holding these guys here. So I'll say main and nav, and I'll just say display flex justify. So let's save that. It doesn't really do much, but when we then say justify content, and we're going to set it to space between or space around, really. Okay, so you see that it spaces out these guys here. Okay, let's of course align items to center. Let's do border of, so that should be 1 pixel, 1 px solid, and this color here. So it's actually there, but because the background color is white, we are not really appreciating it. But when we add some padding, we are going to appreciate it more. So let's add some padding of 5 pixels. Okay, we're going to set the position to relative, and we're going to give it a background color. We're going to be our gray color. So let's do var and color gray. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. And we want this guy to stay on top, so I'm going to set the z index to 1, and I'll save. Okay, so what we want to do next is let's target the label. So I can basically just copy this, come here, paste that in, and then say label. Okay, so let's do a font size 1.6. Oh, so there's something here. I missed something here. So we're going to do cursor and set it to pointer. Okay, so you see that this guy is taking shape already. Okay, I think there's something I missed in my markup, so let me just go back to my markup and be sure. I think there's something I missed. All right, so let's bring this out and come to the markup, and yeah, so here, yeah, so there's something I missed here. So basically I'm just going to, below this label here, right before the end of the nav, I'm going to create a div with a class of slide, and it's going to be an empty div. It's not going to have anything. Okay, So let's come back to our styles.css, and basically let's just continue where we stopped. I'll copy this guy. Let's shrink this guy one more time. And I'll target the icon inside of the label. And for the icon, I'm just going to give it some padding on the right of 5 pixels. And I'm just going to do a color, and it's going to be a secondary color. Okay, so that's what we just did here. And I'm going to target the nav I just created. So I would say nav and slide. Oh, this should be dot slide because it's a class. And let's do position of absolute from the top. Let's do 0. From the left, let's do 3%. From let's give it a width of 26% and a height of 100%. Let's give it a background color of our color primary. Let's do a border radius of 3 pixels, which is okay. Let's do a Z index of -1, and let's set the transition to 0.3 seconds. Okay, so this is what we just achieved here. Well, coming very pretty close to what we have here. Okay, so this is what we have now. Doesn't do much. Okay, so but let's continue. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the checked pseudo class. Okay, so remember we did login, register, and reset, right? So we're going to, let's just come here. So this first one here is login, and we set it to checked ab initio. Okay, so we're going to say that when the ID of register, so let me just, so I'll say ID of register, which is the second one with the embed video. We'll say that when it is checked, right, we want, so let me just look for that symbol. I can't find it here. So I found the symbol. So I'll say we want to apply styles to the nav and the slide when the register is checked. Okay, that's when the register checkbox is checked. Okay, so I hope this is something you know already, but if you don't know about it, then you should definitely check out my course. Okay, so but let me try to explain. So I'll bring this out, and basically we started by creating radio buttons. Let's just go up. All right, so we created radio buttons. Yeah, one had an ID of login, another register, and another reset. Checkbox, radio buttons are supposed to be checked, okay, just like checkbox. So we're saying that when the register when the radio button with an ID of register is checked, we want something to happen to the nav slide. Okay, that's basically what we just said here with this CSS styles. Okay, so what do we want to happen? We want to move it from the left by 31%, and I'll save. Okay, so watch what happens when I click here. So nothing actually happens, and I'm wondering why. So but that's not difficult. We can actually find out what is wrong. So register checked and stuff. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is the first problem we're encountering. So let's come to our checkbox and make it display. I can't even find the checkbox anymore, so let me just do Control F. So I'll do Control F and I'll say none. Okay, so we just have to, okay, so this is it here. So I'm just going to comment this out and save, and let me check on this guy here. Okay, so you see that when I checked the checkbox, it moved. Okay, all right, so I probably know what's happening. The fault is from my HTML. Okay, so let me just go to my HTML and I'll locate what the problem is. So impute, type of register, and then below it we have labels for login. Okay, so we have labels for login, for login, for login. So this should be label for register, and this last one should be for reset. And I'll save, and I think if I click on this, you see that it moves here. Okay, so that's the first problem we just debugged. Okay, it wasn't really a problem, it was just the something we missed out. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in here, and I'll say that when the reset is checked, right, I want to move it by 66%, and I'll save. Okay, so if I click on this guy, it moves here, it moves here, and it moves here. So don't worry about the whole, we're going to make it responsive. Okay, with media queries. So you see here that it looks better here, so that's because we're going to add media queries. Okay, all right, so let's continue. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that when we click on it, we want the color of the link to become white. Okay, so let me show you how you're going to do that. So we're going to say, so I'll say hash login, and when the login is, when it's checked, I want to add some styles to, so then I'll target nav and label, and I'll get the .login label, login class rather. Okay, and I'll just replicate this. So 1, 2, and this one I'm going to say that when the register is checked, so I'll change the second one to register, and I'm going to change this to register as well. And let's do the last one. So this one is going to be changed to reset, and this is going to be reset as well. Okay, all right, so I'm just going to say I want the color to be set to white, so I'll say hash FFF and I'll save. Okay, so we are at another bug. Okay, so we just have to look closely. So basically there are two ways you can debug your CSS. The first way is actually to just look at your code. Okay, that's what I do first. I look at my code, and if there's something wrong with my code, I see it and I fix it. But if not, I go to my console, I inspect. Okay, I use the developer tool rather. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is I'll look at the code here. So I say that when the login is checked, I want to target the nav, the label, and login. Okay, so all right, so I'm saying label.login. Okay, so let me just drag that back and I'll save. Okay, yeah, so basically that's solved already. All right, so let's continue. Basically what we have to do is we just have to style the content here. Okay, so you see that the HTML and CSS alone and on this project is it's a project on its own. Okay, but I mean it's just what we need to do to make our application look nice. So let's do the content. I think I'm going to take a break soon. And for the content, I'm going to set the display to none and I'll save. So my content has disappeared, but don't worry, we're going to add the logic. So remember that we have three set of contents, 1, 2, 3. So we've hidden all the content because they all have this class common to them. But remember, they also have modifier classes. We are going to use that modifier classes to then place them in the various sections. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that when the login, so login is checked, right? We want to target this section, and specifically we want to get the first one, which is content link, right? And we want to set the display to block. So before I go ahead and save this, let me just explain what I just did. So remember that we have three sections here. The first one, we called it login, register, and reset. We're saying that when this first section is checked, you can see the checkbox. We want only the content link area, which is this first guy here. So let me scroll down. Yeah. So this guy here with this div here with a class of content and then content link is going to be displayed. So I'll come here and I'll save, and as you can see, we have the first one. If you come here, you won't find anything. You come here, you won't find anything, but we have just the first section. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replicate this. I'll just copy this, right? And I'll paste it 2 times. And then I'll change it here. So I'll say that when the register section, I'll say I want the content hyphen. Let me just look at it one more time to be sure. So content hyphen audio. So let's do audio. And then for the last one, I'll say that when the reset, I want the content hyphen, I think it's video, and then I'll save. So if I click here, audio content is displayed here. I click here, video content is displayed here. So I'm like, if you don't understand what I just did, maybe you should just like go back and watch what I just did. Okay. All right. So so what we basically need to do is to style the forms within the various content. Okay. So let me just add a comment here. Form styles. Okay. So section and dot content. So let's start by giving it a margin of, so it will be 3 rem on the top and bottom, and auto to center it. Okay, doesn't even center, but if we do text align, so that should be text align and set it to center. All right, so that should center everything. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to target the font awesome icon. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'll just say content, and I'll say the direct child of the content, that is an icon, right? I'll then say I want the font size to be 3 rem. I want the color to be my color secondary. So that's color. So that's a variable and color secondary. So let's save. Oh, this should be dot content. Okay, so yeah, so we have our styles, and then we want a border 2px and solid. So 2px solid. We want a padding of 8 pixels, and we want a border radius of 5 rem. Okay, so as you can see, this is what we have here, and it looks okay. All right, so let's move on. So let's target the h2. So that's content and h2. So I know that my CSS is probably not dry. There are a lot of things that I can probably, condense with other properties, but you can do that yourself. Okay, so let's do line height and set it to 2, and let's do some padding of 0 on the top and bottom and 1 rem on the left and right, and let's do a position of relative and save. Okay, so the reason why we're doing the position of relative is because on the original document we have these 2 dashes here. Okay, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think I can actually leave it out. Okay, you already know how to do that from this guy we did here, so maybe I'll just leave it out to save time. Okay, so I'll just go straight to the content and paragraph. So I'll say dot content and p, and let's just do some padding on the bottom of 1 rem. Okay, so just to space these guys out a little, then let's target the form. Okay, so I'll say dot content and form. Let's give it a width of 70% and margin of 0 and auto. Okay, so it's centered. So let's do, we want it to be one on top of the other, so I can just use my flex display and flex direction of column. Okay, so it's one on top of the other. So Google Drive link and this guy here. So let me just make sure that we're okay, so we're on the right track. Okay, similar to what we have here. Let's come back and let's target the label. So I'd say dot content and form label, position of relative and margin of 0 and auto. Oh, there's no, so that's margin of 0 and auto, and let's give it a width of 100%. Okay, so let's just grab this guy and let's put that here, and then let's say impute. Okay, this impute is going to take a lot of properties. Let's start with the display and set it to block. Okay, let's give it a width of 100%. Okay, so it's uniform. Let's do some padding, just regular padding of, let's do 1.3 rem on the top and bottom. and 3 rem on the left and right. Okay, let's do border radius. And how do we do that? We said 10 pixels on the left, then 0 on the right, then like so, 10 pixels and 0, and save. Okay, so that's what we have here, this curve guy here. Then let's add some border on the bottom. Let's do 2 pixels, so 2px and solid, and let's give it a variable color. Oh, so we're not using a variable color. Let me just make sure. So we're going to use RGBA. So it's going to be 000.4 and save. So let me look at the original just to make sure. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's what we want. Let's add some margin on the bottom. And let's do 2 rem. Then let's do a background color of, so that should be background, ouch. So I'm going to do RGB one more time, but this time it's going to be 0.1. Okay. We're going to remove the outline of the button of the inputs. We're going to set it to none, and we're going to set the color of the input to a variable color of dark gray. Okay. Transition of 0.3 seconds. Okay, so this is what we have now. All right. So there are a lot of things we do on this input button. Okay, but I'm actually thinking of skipping quite a lot of those things. Okay, so we just have our download link and our button. Okay, but on the main, okay, I think I'll just do them. So I'll take the time to do them. So I'll come here, but I think I'll stop running commentaries. I'll just write code. Okay, and I'll explain where I need to explain. Okay, so I'll do focus and I'll say invalid. Okay, and then I'll set the font size. So you see what we did here now is when we click on this guy and we're not typing, the color becomes this our secondary color. Okay, that's basically what we just did, right? So I'm just gonna take this guy and I'll copy, I'll paste it in, and this time I'll say that when the color of the input is valid, right, I want it to be green. That's when the user starts typing. Okay, so let's say that we want our font size to be same 1.6 rem, and I'm just going to grab this guy here and paste it in, and then I'm actually going to say green. Okay, and then I'm also going to change the background color. Okay, So I have the color somewhere here, so I'll just copy it and I'll just paste it in and save. Okay, so if I come here and I start typing, okay, so basically that's what we have done for here. Oh, this should actually be valid, not invalid. And I'll save. And if I start typing, you see that it becomes green. Okay, so that's it. So let's get, so we're going to target the something is actually missing here. There's supposed to be an icon somewhere here where we're going to place our Google Drive, and apparently I don't know why the icon is not showing, but let me just confirm. So I'll come here to my index.html, and so the first content link, and the icon is FA Google Drive. So let me just make sure that that icon is the correct name. Just a minute. So that's for the Impute, and it's FA Google Drive. Okay, so it's actually correct. Okay, maybe I'll just add the styles for the icon first and see what happens. So I'll come here, and I'll do my position to absolute, and from the left I'm going to specify 1 rem, and from the top I'll do 1.5 rem, and I'll give it a font size of 1.3. I'll give it a color of my variable color and color secondary. Okay, so apparently my icon is not displaying. Okay, and I don't know if I have the time to start debugging it. Let me just check one more time. So form label icon, yeah. Okay, so it should actually display, but for some reason it's not displaying, and I'm going to move on. Okay, I've spent quite a lot of time writing HTML and CSS, so I'm just going to move on very quickly. So let's do placeholder, and I'm just going to set the font size to 1.6 rem, and I'm going to set the position, maybe not the position, the color. So I'll set the color to dark gray. So that's var and dark gray. Okay, so let's target the embed code area here. So I'll just say dot so the embed code is going to be positioned to relative. Okay, and let's get the text area. So I'll say dot content form text area. So what do we want for the text area? We want it to have a width of 100%. Okay, and a height of 10 rem. Okay, so that's smaller. We want it to have an outline of none and a font size of 1.6 rem. What is the outline? Let me see. Okay, then we want it to have a font family to inherit the font family. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is we need to target this copy, and remember that it's a span class. So basically I can just say dot embed code and span. And I've not even started my download link. I guess I missed that, but I'll fix that, no problem. So the span basically is going to be positioned to absolute, and from the right let's do 1 pixels. From the bottom let's do 5 pixels. Okay, so basically let's do a font size of 1.6. let's do a font weight of 600. I think I just use bold, or maybe 700 to make it bold. Okay, let's do a background color, variable and color primary. Let's do a color of white. Okay, so now what we just need to do is to add some padding, and we do 5 pixels top and bottom, 8 pixels left and right. Yeah, so it's looking more like our button. Let's do a border of 1 px and solid and white, kind of white. Let's set the cursor to pointer and the transition to all and 0.3 seconds for the, so that when we hover on it, it will transit smoothly. Okay, so basically I'll just come here, I'll copy this and I'll create a hover class. I'll say hover, and I'll just change the font size. So font size, paste that in, and I'll change it to 1.8. You see why I'm doing that. So when I do that, it will, increase just a little bit here. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is we need to style this button, but it should come after the link. Okay, so after this placeholder here, I'll style the button. So I'll say dot content and btn, I think. So that, let's do padding of 1.2 rem and save. Okay, this should be .btn. Okay, so we have a bigger button. Then let's do font size of 1.6. Let's do font weight of 700 and background color of our secondary color. Let's set the outline to none. Let's do So I need to get rid of that guy. That's why the none is being highlighted. Let's do border to none as well, and then let's do border radius to 3 pixels, and then let's do color to white, and then let's do cursor to pointer. Okay, so for the button we're going to set the transition all on 0.3 seconds. That's because we are going to add a hover class to the button. So basically I'll just copy this button and I'll paste it in there, and I'll say hover. And what I want to do, I just want to change the background color. So I'll copy this guy here, paste it in, and change it to color primary, and that's all. So yeah, so in the original one I did this hover class thing, but I'm not going to do that here. Okay, and then for this impute here, I think there's something I did wrong. Let me just look at it. The form label impute, I'm not quite sure what it is I did wrong, but whatever, I'm just gonna leave it like that. So I'll save. So basically I think we're done with most of it. So basically what we just need to do is to write our script. Okay, but first let's hide these checkboxes. So let me just locate that. Which I apparently have to search for. Okay, I found it. So I'll just do this and save. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our script.js, but I think I want to take a break because I am tired. All right, so I'll just take a short break, get some water, and we'll be back. All right, so I'm back. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to focus on the JavaScript. Okay, so this is where you probably need to pay attention. Okay, so I'm going to come here to my files, and I would open my script.js. Okay, so the important thing about writing JavaScript is, first off, you need to be able to think like a programmer. Okay, so it's not just actually just writing the code. You need to first be able to analyze what you want to build and find a logical way to go around it. Okay, so to do that, let's copy this link one more time, and let's generate a direct download link here. So let me paste that in. Okay, so we want to be able to okay, yeah, let me just bring this out. So we want to be able to come from this link, right, to this link, and basically what is common to both this link is this ID. Okay, this file ID, right? That's basically what is common to the link. So we're going to be using the replace method. Okay, and let's just see the embed. So basically we are using the audio tag, okay, to embed the Google file. Okay, and then for the video aspect and the document aspect, we are using iframe, okay, to embed the Google file. Okay, so basically we are creating a direct download link, audio embed link, video / document embed link. That's basically what we're doing. Okay, so understanding the logic will help us to, create this project. Okay, so now let's go back and let's come to our script.js. So first off, we're going to create some variables. So let's just say, and let's do that. So the first one is I'm going to create for the Google link, and it's going to be equals to document.getElementsById, and the ID I'm looking for is my ouch, my glink. Okay, that's basically the impute here. So this impute has an ID of glink. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate this 2 times, and this one is going to be for the button. So I'll say btn, and I'm going to get the btn as well. So that's the button, and this one is going to be for the download link. So that's, I think, this one here. So I would say download -link, and here I'm just going to say download link. Okay, and I'll save. Okay, so we are done creating our variables. So let's start by adding an event listener to the button. Okay, so I'll say button dot add event listener, and basically I'm going to add the click event, right? And I'll call a function. So the function is going to be generate link. Okay, so that's fine. And then I'll come down here and I'll create a function generate link. Let's give it a parameter of e, and let's continue. So the first thing we want to do is when we click on this button, right, it's going to refresh this page. Okay, but we don't want that. So let me just show you. So it's basically I add a required field in the HTML. So basically I'm just going to come here and I'll say e dot, and I'll use the prevent default method, right, so that the page does not reload. And basically let's just make sure that everything is tied up well. So I'll say console.log, and here I would say glink dot value, right? Okay, so let's just save that and let's come here. So I would right click and let me just open this up. I'll right click and inspect element. I don't need all of this space, so I'll shrink it out, and I'll just come here and type hello world, and let's open up our console first, and let's click here. Oh, not source but console. Okay, so you see here that we have hello world here, so that means that what we just wired up is properly done. Okay, so I'll close this up and come here. Right, so let's comment out this console.log because we're not going to need it. Okay, so next we're going to create another variable. So I'll say const, and this variable is going to be the glink value. So glink, no, this should be link and value, and I'm going to set it to, so basically I will just set it to glink.value. So let me just copy this guy. So glink.value, and I would close that up. And then let's go ahead and confirm that what is actually pasted here is a Google Drive link. Okay, so I would create another variable. I would say const, and I'll call it confirm. So I'll just say confirm link, and basically I'm going to set it to equals to glink.value. So glink dot value, right? and then I'll check if it includes. So I'll say dot includes, and then I'll just open a bracket. Okay, so basically I'll just come to my Google Drive link and I'll copy this guy here. I'll come here and basically, oh, I already have a Google Drive link here, so I'm just going to copy from this guy here, this initial aspect of the link, and I'll copy that, and I'll say that I want to check if it includes this part of the link, right? But let me just undo that and I'll put it inside of quotes. Yeah, okay, so I'm checking that if the glink value includes this this link here, okay, just to make sure that it's a Google Drive link that's pasted in. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll come here and let me just console.log one more time. So I'll copy this just to make sure that everything is wired up nicely, and let me just do glink value and I'll save. So I'll come here, let's inspect. Okay, so we have console.log properly wired. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure, I like making sure that everything I'm writing, you know, is properly wired. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say okay, I think I want to change this variable. I want to make it get download link, or maybe I'll just come down here so there's no need to rush. So I would say if confirm link, so if confirm link, right, is equals to true, okay, what do I want to do? I want to create a variable. I'll say const, and this variable is going to be get download link. Okay, and I'm just going to set it to glink dot value. Okay, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace some part of the link. Okay, so I'll say I'll just come to the next line, so I can easily do it on one line and say dot replace, right? But it's going to be very cumbersome. Okay, so I'll come to another line and say dot replace, right? And then I would open this my bracket, and then I'll specify what I want to replace first, right? I would add a comma and specify what I want to replace it with. Okay, so the first thing is I'm just going to get the initial aspect of the file. So I'll come here, right? I can close this up, and I'll say that I want to replace just the initial string here. I'll come here and I'll paste it in. And what do I want to replace it with? So that's pretty easy. All I need to do is come to my download link and say that I want to replace it with up to this point here. Okay, that's up to the before the file ID. Okay, so this is the file ID, this number here. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll do. I'll come here and I'll paste that in. Okay, so that's the first aspect. So the second aspect is to replace the end of the string. Okay, so to do that, I'll come to the next line and I'll say dot replace one more time, and of course let's open a bracket, specify what we are replacing, and specify what we want to replace it with. Okay, so what do we want to replace this time? So I'll come back to my file link here, right? And basically, let me just go to the end of the file. Basically, I want to replace the last aspect of the file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just at the end of this file ID, which ends here with the letter G, I'm going to get the rest. Okay, and I'm going to copy that and say that I want to replace it with an empty string. Okay, that's what I just did now. So let's alert. Okay, we can actually console.log, right? So let's log to the console log, and let's get the download link. So basically, I'm just going to come here and say get download link, and I'll paste it here, and that should be it. I'll save, and let's see what we've done so far, and I'll paste that in and right click and inspect. So I think everything should work nicely. Okay, so you see here that we have this new file, okay, that has been generated. So this is the get download link variable we've created. Okay, so we're almost ready to place this link inside of this direct download link container. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to say, so let's come here and we can delete this, right? And we're going to say that the download link dot value, okay, which is this variable we created here, download link, right, dot value is equal to get download link. Okay, so that's basically it. So but what we want to do is we want to create a function, right? And that function basically, so if I save this guy here and I come here and paste, and you see here that it copies the download link into this file. Okay, so what we want to do next, is we want to create a function so that when we click on this copy, it will copy the content of this text area. Okay, so that's basically what we want to do now. So I'll just come here and I'll say function, and this function is I'm going to name it copy text. Okay, and it's going to have a target parameter. That's because this function, we're going to use it in different part of the application. Okay, so that's why we're giving it a parameter. So I will say that if, okay, so let me just do that. So I'll say that if the target dot value is equal to an empty string, so let's just do this, right? I will then say please generate a download link. So let me alert, and I'll save, right? Then I'll say else. I want to say target dot select. So you probably know the target dot select method. So we'll select what is inside of the text area, and then we'll then execute a command. So document dot execute command. So that's document.exec command, and basically the command we want to execute is to copy. So I'll just say copy, and we can close that up, and basically we can then alert and say something like link has been copied to clipboard. So okay, so but this function is not going to do anything because we've not called it. Okay, we've just created it, we've not called it. So we're going to have to call this function right now. Okay, so I'll come outside of the function and I will call the function. So first off, I'll create a variable for this button here, right? You know, it's the copy button. So I would say const copy equals document.getElement by ID, and basically the ID I'm looking for is the I can actually use I used the query selector before, but I can actually use the ID, but no problem. I can just say document.query selector. Okay, and what is the query I'm looking for is the dot copy. Okay, so that's it. So basically I can then say something like copy dot add event listener, and I'll just add a click event. So I'll just say click, and I can then do the arrow function, and basically I'll just return the copy. So I'll say return, and say copy text. So I'm calling that function now, and I'm going to pass the argument of the download link. So I'll say download link, and I'll save. Okay, so I've written a few lines here. I hope I did not make any typographical error. So but let's just find out. And so I'll paste that here, I'll generate a link, and I'll click on copy. Okay, so it says link has been copied to clipboard. So let me click on OK, and as you can see, it highlights, it selects the link. So I'll delete that and I'll paste that in. Okay, so you see that it was actually copied to the clipboard. Okay, so so I think we're done with this area here. So what we need to do is we need to just do some modifications so we can create the audio embed link. Okay, so let's just come down here and I'll add so down here. So let me just make sure. Okay, so I still want to be in the if statement. So if confirm link. Okay, so I still want to be inside that if statement. So I'll come here and I'll add a comment and say embed audio. Okay, I can say embed audio, maybe function. Okay, so the first thing I would do is I would create a variable. So basically I would say const, and I'll say audio 1, and I'll set it to be equals to, so what do I want, what exactly do we want for this audio 1, right? I would come to let me just come to the previous application here. So basically we want to use this audio tag. Okay, and we want to be able to place the download link inside of it. So I'll just copy the initial aspects of the audio tag, okay, excluding the download link. Okay, and I'll put it inside of this audio 1 tag, right? So I'll just use the single quotes and then I'll paste that in. All right, so that's the first one. And then I would create another variable and call it audio2. So I'll say const and audio2, and I'll set it to be equal to. So if you come back to this application here, at the end of the this file ID here, right, we have this remaining aspects of the code. So I'll just copy this guy here, okay, and I would come here to my, and then I'll paste it in. So Control V, and that's it. Okay, so basically what we need to do now is we need to then arrange all of this. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'll create another variable and say const, and the name of this variable is going to be embed audio, and I'll set it to be equal to, and for my embed audio, basically I would first get my, so document dot, I think it's get elements by ID. Yeah, so get element by ID, and the ID I'm specifically looking for is the embed audio ID. So embed hyphen audio, and we can close that. Okay, so if I then do embed audio, so embed audio dot value, and then I'll set it to be equals to, so let's use our template literals and then let's place in all of this. So the first one is going to take in the audio 1, so I would say audio 1, right, and then I'm going to place the download link, sorry, the embed embed audio dot value, oh sorry, the download link dot value. We already have our download link, so download link dot value, and the last one is going to take in our audio 2, so audio 2. Okay, so that's it. I think that's it basically. So let's do this. So I think first off, let me log to the console and say I want to log the embed audio dot value. So embed audio dot value, and then I'll just save that. Okay, so if you notice something, you see that I'm writing small bits of code and trying to, you know, make sure that everything is, you know, working fine before I move on. So that's the only way you can actually guarantee that you don't make like a mistake that you have to spend so much time. Okay, so you can see here that we have the audio embed code here. So basically all we need to do next is to wire this function so that we can copy it. So we just need to call the copy text function when we click on this button. Okay, so beside that, our audio embed function is working. So basically what we need to do, so I think I can, maybe I can just comment this out so you can have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the embed code for the audio. So let me add a comment and say copy audio embed code. Okay, so first off we need to get the button. So I can just say something like const, and I will just say copy audio. Okay, which will be equals to documents dot query selector. Okay, and I'll just get the copy audio class, and then Okay, I can actually just say dot add event listener. Okay, let me just make it more systematic. So I'll do this and then I'll say copy audio dot add event listener, right? And I'll just add my click event, and let's use the arrow function to put in what we want to happen. And basically we just want to say that we want to return so let's return the function, and the function is copy text, and the parameter for the function is going to be our embed audio variable. So embed audio, and that's all. I'll save, and if we come here and test what we've just done and paste that in, and we come here, you see, so it says link has been copied to clipboard. Okay, so I'll just do this, and you see it also highlights it. So we're almost done. Actually, the last thing we need to do is we need to do for the embed video and document. Okay, so that shouldn't take us so much time. We can actually do that very quickly. So I'll add a comment here and say embed video, and I'll just start by creating a variable. So I'll say const, and I'll say get video link. I'll set it to be equals to our link. So I'll say glink, right, dot value. Okay, I'll come down and I'll say dot replace. Okay, so dot replace, and remember how it works. So basically, what am I replacing and what am I replacing it with? Okay, so let's come back to the application and see. So this is what our link looks like initially, but if you come to the embed code, you see that we now have iframe, okay, and the link, right? So basically that's what we are going to replace, but there's something here at the end of the link. So let me just come to the end of the link. This last bit in our link, we don't need it for our video and document embed code. So we are going to get rid of this bit here. Okay, so I'll just right click and I'll copy that, and I'll come here and I'll paste that in. So I'll say that I'm replacing this last bit with an empty string. Okay, is that fine? All right, so let's continue. Excuse me. So let's create a variable, and I'll say const, and I'll just say video 1, and I'll set it to be equals to the first part of the iframe. So let me just grab the first part of the iframe, and I think it's this part here. Okay, and I'll paste that in. Okay, so basically I can just duplicate this and say video 2. Okay, so video 2 basically will be video 2 will be from this preview here. So this guy here, right? So because the file ID ends with the letter G, so after the file ID we want to add this part of the markup. So I'm just going to paste in that. Okay, all right, so what do we want to do next? So first I'm going to create another variable, right? And I'm going to say const, and basically I'm going to say embed video, which is equal to which is going to be equals to document dot get element by id, and the id we are looking for, remember, it's the embed video id. So I would say embed hyphen video, and then I'll close that up. Okay, so basically what I want to do is I want to then say that embed video dot value, so I'll say embed video dot value, and I'll set it to be equals to, let's use our template literal like we did before, and let's do dollar, and I'll say video1, and I'll add the second variable, so I'll do dollar, and basically what am I going to add here? That's going to be the get video link. Okay, so I'll just say get video link, and then the last one is going to be video2. Okay, and then I would save. Okay, so let's go ahead and test and make sure that we are on the right track. So I'll come here, I'll copy this link, I'll paste it in, and I'll generate a direct download link, and I'll click here. So you see here that we've been able to generate our video embed link. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is we need to wire it up so that we can copy it. Okay, we already have our copy function, we just need to call this button to use the button to call it. Okay, so let's come here and let's create a variable and say copy video, and set it to equals to document.query selector, right? And what query are we looking for? We're looking for the dot copy hyphen video, and then we can then say copy video dot add event listener. What event we want to add for the click, and we want to use our arrow function to say that we want to return the copy text function, but we want to pass in this argument for the embed video. So embed video, and yeah, so let's test that out. Come here, I'll grab this guy, I'll create a link, and let's copy the video. So you see here link has been copied to clipboard, so you see that our link was actually copied. So at the end of the day, when we finish creating our rules for the three aspects of the project, we then need to add an else statement. Okay, so that's because we added an if statement. We said that, let me just look for it up here. So we said that if the confirm link is equals to true, right? In other words, that if the link is a Google Drive link, right? We want all of this to take place. So what if it's not a Google Drive link? So else, right, we're going to say please enter a Google Drive link. So I'm going to create an alert that is going to say please enter a Google Drive file link. Okay, and then I'll save. Okay, so let's come to the page here. Okay, so I'm just going to enter some text. Okay, and I'll click. So it says please enter a Google Drive file link. Okay, but when I actually enter a Google Drive file link and I paste that in and click on generate direct link, you see it gets our download link, and we can copy that. And then for the embed section we can also copy, and for the video section we can also copy. So basically that's the project. Okay, it's a very simple project, and if you were able to create this project, then congratulations to you. So in the next one we're going to create the next project. Okay, I don't know exactly which one we're going to create next, but I'm going to take a break and I'll see you in the next project. All right.